So, Ricky, can you share anything about Sai Baba?
Yeah. I got, it's Grandpa Ricky here talking about Sai Baba. And Sai Baba was born in India. And I actually went to India by a whole series of miracles to see him. But I'm gonna stop and back something up, and that was that I came from a family that had lost trust in God, lost trust in religion, lost trust in spirituality, and only saw manipulation, only saw my family. They couldn't ask for help, although my father and my mother were very good at helping other people. They couldn't ask for help for themselves. And so they sent me to church at one point, to Sunday school, Christian Sunday school, and I was like 7 or 8 years old, and inside me, I was saying, what these people are saying is bullshit. Like it didn't make sense. They were, like, it was contradictory, and it was like, you got to think this way. Well, my brain didn't think that way. I was a contrarian kid, and I was still traumatized. I was crazy, and they didn't know what to do with me. They didn't make me feel comfortable because I was a weird kid, and I didn't get sucked in because I didn't trust them. And so I was kind of, at the edge of it. And then my life experiences started to add up, and I got so I could sense spirits around me, and I learned to do that from my grandmother, and from her spirit. But that's a whole other set of subjects. And so here I was, really tuned into nature spirits, and having a lot of trouble with Jesus and Buddha and Muhammad, and even having trouble with the word God, and then started to think, and was thinking that God, wasn't like human-like, but I really subscribed to the idea that God is ineffable. You can't know what God is. But then it dawned on me that God is probably the word that was put onto the idea of non-duality, of everything that is. And then I heard about the Aboriginal people in Australia, and some of them in North America, who really thanked all that was. That was the great creator. Creation itself was, really important. So I was down at the Esalen Institute, and I was studying with a guy called Stan Groff, and we were studying holotropic breath work, and you had to do it with a partner. And so the partner that I picked was a woman who was quite elderly, and she said to me, she said, before we start, you should know I'm a devotee of Sai Baba, who I'd never heard of, and my husband committed suicide 2 weeks ago. And I thought, well, who's Sai Baba? That, the order of those things. Well, Stan played some music that was Sai Baba singing, bhajans, they called them. And these are like sacred songs. And my partner just was writhing in ecstasy, that she was so happy to hear Sai Baba singing. And it meant something to her. It didn't mean anything to me. And so the next day, she brought a picture of him and said, this is Sai Baba. And I looked at it and said, oh, is he ever an ugly guy? And because his face was very different looking. And I don't know why I said that. And she said, oh my God, he'll get you for that. So we finished the time, and she gave me some of this powder that he would make out of his hands. It was sacred powder. It was like a ashes, and he would use that as a signal to let devotees of his past incarnation, whose name was Shirdi Sai Baba, know it was him. And he would have his hand up like this, and the ash would sprinkle out from his hand. And then a lot of people said, "Oh, he was a charlatan. It was happening in different ways." And so I started to meditate, and he would jump into my head, and he would tease me about all of my faults, and he would tease me about my fear, and tease me about my lack of trust and everything. So that's enough. This has gone on, but I will continue in the next video. So make sure you tell your stories. They're important. Okay? Yeah.
Thank you, Ricky.